All right, guys, I have something new for you. This is called the OBXD, a completely free synthesizer that you can download. I'll leave the link below. Okay, so with this, it's by Disco DSP, and they're the ones who brought you that other Virus TI like emulation type plugin, even though I think it's Virus C. I'm forgetting all the acronyms. But anyhow, it's free. At first, it looks like you have to buy it, but if you just click the PC, the Mac version, or whatever version, it just downloads for free. So shout out to their company. We're gonna make a quick little song or melody, I'll say, with this. And if you want more free plugins, I have them in our Discord. Go to discord.gg/busyworksbeats, and you'll find a list of a bunch of free plugins I'd recommend. Okay, so let's get started with some presets. Firstly, because in the beginning, you don't know how to sound design, so you just click presets. Now, let me quick anecdote. For those on Mac, go to Options, Manage Plugins. Make sure you have the AU version turned on, because for the longest time, I couldn't get sound. Make sure you have the AU version if you're on Mac in FL Studio. Okay, so let's go to the different presets. You can arrow through presets in FL. So these presets are really just showing you what it could do. It's not... You can also select the presets from the menu here. If you go to Programs, you could jump through that way. So as you can hear, this sounds pretty clean. And again, it's just showing you what it can do. We're gonna make it sound from scratch though. All right, so let's start from scratch. Let's go to the menu. Let's go to Programs. We're going to go to Default. Now, I wouldn't use those presets for what I do, but let's start here with some chords, and then we're going to map out like the sound. So firstly, we're going to make like a super saw sound, and we're going to make it sound really wide. So let's just start with a big chord like this, and then drag it out. First thing, I'm going to open up the filter. It sounds dull because the filter's on. And we're going to give this filter what's called an envelope, the envelope amount. And this filter envelope controls how it moves this knob, basically. So I could tell it to go slow and add some attack. And basically, the lowest value is where it ends. So I can pull up the attack. Make it like brassy. Let's add some more chords in here so you could hear more movement. Let's do... And let's add a ninth. Dominant ninth chord in here. Let's do... Okay, you've seen this chord progression a million times on this channel. Okay, so what we're trying to do right here is just create a bounce so that now when we go back to the actual plugin, we can hear some of the filter movement. Also, keep in mind the voices. You would have to up the voices. The more notes you have, the more voices you need. So the cool part about this is you can pan each individual voice. This is something that I had to learn from analog synths. Basically, you can have one tone playing on the left, one tone playing on the right, and we're just going to pan hard left or like semi-hard. So now you can hear those voices kind of spread around. Makes the synth feel a lot wider. Let's add some resonance. Now let's work on the actual oscillators. Now for this one, you have to hold Alt on Mac and left click and drag. Technically, it's called Option. We could detune the oscillators here. So we're working with Sawteeth. Let's pull this. Now we have an octave on oscillator 2. So it's a pretty cool tone. You could also select the pitch envelope, and that will be mapped by the envelope amount in the filter over here. So it's woo, like that. You can also invert these filters for a really unique sound. It's almost like a sidechain effect. So the pitch is going from high to low, but the filter is going from high to low and then back up. It's like reverse envelope. So an interesting sound. I probably wouldn't do it for this sound. Let's mess with this cross mod. Let's add more. Let's also read. Let's add some noise in there to thicken out the sound. I actually like this one octave lower as far as the tone. Let's pull that 12 semitones down. Let's make this envelope a little sharper. Okay, there's also different filter types. I'm gonna leave it on low pass because it just helps us control the harmonics there. Now this one, step, I don't even know what this controls here. I didn't read the manual, so I'm not sure what that controls, the step feature. Let's add some unison here to really add like a big sound to it. Now this might be overkill, so let's turn it down. Let's spread out the unison. Now because I already have the sounds spread out, spreading it doesn't make it sound wider. But if I were to reset these, hitting shift, yeah, I'm not hearing spread. Usually spread, what it does is it widens out the sound. I might have something turned off or something, but usually spread widens out the sound with unison. What else can we do with this? We can add an LFO. Let's add an LFO. And with these, it's really hard to know what is going on. So you have to tell this thing what to control. So let's do the frequency amount, which is a vibrato. And how do we, we have to tell it which thing to modulate. So this is the shape for the LFO. This is the frequency you want to manipulate, like the filter or the oscillator too. And pulse width is if we were doing this over here on this knob, which we're not using a pulse wave. So this is the vibrato. You have to have these two activated. So we get a pretty cool sound. All right, so I mean, would I go for this plugin every single day? Not necessarily. I just wanted to show you guys what you could do. Let's add like a lead sound. I don't know if it has any effects in here. I don't see any effects, but if you wanted to add some effects like reverb and stuff, you would just add those. Let's pull this down one octave. I want to see if we get a different tone. There we go. That's the tone we want. And let's do one thing over here. Let's switch this chord to a minor chord. Okay, so I'm revoicing some of these chords here. All right, let's add another sound here. So now it's starting to have a vibe. Okay, but it took a while to get there. Now the presets are not going to get you there. But I did see a feature here where you can import presets and import banks. So I'm curious if people are going to make banks for this plugin. That'd be interesting. Okay, now let's add some melodic tone. And let's record this. Now at the end, we're in a different key, so I'm going to switch those last two intervals. might redo this melody only because the timing, not because the notes. Okay, so now let's give this a vibe. So right now I'm just writing the notes. We can use the filter to shape the tone. Let's add a filter with a resonance envelope. We're gonna move a little bit quicker here, add some decay. Add some envelope modulation here. And let's see where, now legato mode says keep all, don't know what that means. Keep filter. Okay, so I assume, unless we put this, okay, so if we put it on one voice, we could do monophonic legato, just like that mono, that sound that you're used to, like that. And we can do, I'm not hearing the spread knob. Okay, now I hear the spread. So I think spread is a pitch spread, not necessarily a stereo spread. We also have a detune knob right here. So now let's start shaping the tone. Let's add some vibrato to this sound so it sounds a little more alive. Let's do it. I also like it back in the lower octaves. Funny enough, this sounds better in the lower registers, especially with the filters. So, I mean, in my opinion, this plugin takes a lot of time to get it to sound good. Let's pull in some, where's my drum breaks? Let's pull in some AJ Hall drums just to liven this up. But yeah, if I had to rank this, I mean, it's a great emulation. It's just, it takes a long time to get sounds to sound good. That's just in general. Let's start leveling. And then we get a bass. Let's see if the bass can hold up. Okay, so this is the final test. Can it make good bass? Okay, let's start with, how do we get to the triangle? It shows me a triangle, but I don't know how to select the triangle. This is interesting. 1 + 2, is that what the triangle is? I'm not sure. Okay. And let's see here. Let's use a filter. Now, I think it's the notes I'm playing, so let's drop these just down an octave so it's a little beefier. Again, I mean, I want to shout out the company because they make great plugins. This plugin is this for beginners. It's hard to be inspired by it because you have to do a lot of stuff and you have to know what you're doing to get this to sound good, remotely good. And it's a little hard, even knowing stuff, how to get it to really, really express. So for that reason, I can't rank it too highly, but it was interesting to have. All right, so I'm going to leave the link below. Thank you for watching this game from BusyWorksBeats.com.